topic. And so I was very, with pleasure, to be able to introduce you to Pamela here, who's going to talk about, share with us about this topic of microexpressions. It's a topic that's in use today in the service of law enforcement, legal, medical. But Pamela's going to talk to us about how she's using this topic and perhaps create some awareness for us how we might incorporate that into our own unique work. And so with pleasure, I give you Pamela.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry for being late. I have a few technical questions to ask. I'm supposed to be moving around, and I need a mic, I think. Is there a mic somewhere? Plus the fact that you're all spread out. And once again, I want you to move together in groups. It's like move a bit forward. It's like get together, come together, because we're going to be doing some work all together. So it's like rearrange things and come forward. Can you do that? Microexpressions are usually not body language. They have to do with the face, facial features, right? Now, I'm going to show you something very nice. Oops. Are these like microexpressions? I think not, but it's a really nice way to say, like, body language and microexpressions have different forms in the heads of different people. Now, that's not the topic, all right? It could be expressions, but it's not the expressions we're going to be talking about. Now, over here, we have something very important, and I want you to have a look at the cards I'll be giving you. And I want you to think about something. Take notes in groups. There you are. There you are. You have to work in groups right now. And make notes of what expressions these are that you're looking at. Right, so you have to get a bit closer. It's like the groups that are requested, because I have 2 more cards of this kind, and I have one last group here. So you have to work in groups. Can you work in groups a bit? Like turn around and work. And make notes. There is a card right behind you, I think. You have to turn that way. Okay? And please make notes. Please make notes of what these expressions are. You have about 30 more seconds to make up your minds. No, not necessarily. This is what we have to talk about.
Yeah, what to discuss?
He's smelling something, doesn't he?
Okay, so let's start with the first group here. What do you think? Okay. All right. So the first group here, what have you decided on? Yeah. Show us and tell us. Yeah.
We think it's joy,
Mm-hmm.
surprise,
Mm-hmm.
fear,
Mm-hmm.
possibly sadness,
Yes.
anger, and then disgust.
Anger and then discuss. That's very interesting. Okay, what about this group here? You disagree? Yes, do we have them? I have the mic for people, right? There you go.
Right. I think we agree on the happiness and surprise. Now the third one, we're not entirely sure what we can't come to an agreement actually.
About which ones?
I don't think it's very, the third one, I don't
Third
think
one
it's
as in being
disbelief, fear, yeah. We can't come to an agreement on just one word that describes it.
So the third one is?
That one, yes.
This one here. So you don't know which one, what
No,
emotion?
we have both explanations, disbelief and fear.
All right, disbelief and fear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and about these ones?
Yeah, sadness, anger, and the last one, disgust or disagreement or something.
Okay, what about the other group?
Here. Okay, of course we agree on the first ones,
Mhm.
happiness, joy, etc. Surprise.
Mm-hmm.
The third one would be this fear,
Mm-hmm.
sadness, hate, we think it's hate,
Okay,
and anger.
okay. Right, or?
Oh, disgust. Yeah, disgust.
Okay, right. And the next group is?
Very, very short, we agree with the first group.
Which says joy, surprise,
Fear,
fear,
sadness, what was it, anger,
Anger.
and
disgust. All right. Thank you. And the other group here?
We said pretty much the same. First joy, second surprise, third fear, four sadness, five anger, and six disgust or annoyed. We said both.
Annoyed. And this group here?
We agreed on happy for the upper left, upper middle, surprise, upper right, fear or scared, lower left, sad or upset, lower middle, anger or defiance, and disgust, lower right.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much. So, Lydia? Indeed, these are the emotions depicted in these expressions. All right, as we said, and it is anger and disgust in the last one. Okay? So this is what you can see up there. Right? So the first one would be up there. Right up there, terror or fear. Yes, and the other one in the middle is extreme surprise. The other one is joy and happiness. The other one is anger. The middle one? Somebody says hate. Where does hate come from? That's a very interesting way of putting it. Instead of like anger. It was anger, was it? And you said hate.
Stronger, that's why.
What is stronger? Like hate is stronger than anger? Right. Do the rest of you share the same opinion? Like hatred is stronger than anger?
Yes.
No. Yeah? You do?
Hate is a feeling, anger is
Exactly. Okay? Hatred is a feeling. It moves into the domain of feelings which are not as, intense as emotions. Feelings are slightly different. Okay, so hatred is not part of the emotion system. Right? Yes. The middle one is disgust. Okay, and the final one is sadness, indeed. All right, and then you say, what's the question right now? The seventh. Now, Professor Paul Ekman, he tried to discover and find out what this is all about. And this happened in the 1970s. Has anyone heard the name Paul Ekman? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay, 6 people. Right. So very few people have heard who this person is. He was one of the people, one of the very, very few people, if not the only one, in the 1960s, 70s, to pick up on the work of our dearest friend, Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin was the very, very, very first person that mentioned expressions on the face in relation to emotions in his book, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, in 1872. Okay? So starting off with Darwin's work, Paul Ekman went on to do some research, and he discovered, with very, very serious work that he did, and with a tribe in New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, that was not affected by modern society, did not have TVs, did not have any radio, did not have any communication with the outer world, and through a whole series of experiments, he found that there are 6 basic universal emotions, expressions, right from here. Did anyone say something? What is that? 6. In 1980, he added one more, and that's the one our dear friend Simon has on his face. Can anyone recognize that emotion from that expression? Doubt? Interesting. Knowing Simon, I wouldn't say doubt. He doesn't doubt. Puzzlement? Not really, again. It may look like puzzlement. Yes?
Seems like arrogance.
Arrogance. You're getting closer. You're getting closer.
Something and the others do not know about what it is.
Okay, you're close. Indifference? Combine it? Cynicism, right, sort of. Sophie, you were saying? Christine?
Awkwardness.
No, not awkwardness.
Disdain.
Yes, it's contempt. Contempt. It's actually contempt. Okay, yes, disdain, arrogance, and contempt. All right, this is the 7th emotion that came up as being universal. Okay, so apart from the other 6 that we mentioned, contempt is the 7th one. And it is strikingly evident in expressions, and we'll see soon how. Now, here they are all together with another face, all 7 of them. Okay, can you see the contempt over there? Contempt, and with the previous one, it's rather similar. Can you see the fine lines around the mouth? This is what you have to notice. Simon's mouth and the guy that says contempt, the way his mouth turns upwards. Okay? Now, I want you to have a look at the surprise and fear, okay, and have a look at the differences that are there. Can you see what's up on surprise on the forehead and fear, what's up there in between the eyebrows? Can you see different wrinkles? Can you see different expressions? Do you see how the eyebrows move? So when you first see a person having one of those 2 expressions, in split seconds, you're not sure whether you're going to be recognizing that emotion in that person's face, especially when it happens in split seconds. Do you see the difference? When you have them there side by side, you can see the differences. But what I want you to consider, if you see in split seconds, all right, in 1/12 of a second, if you see these 2, would you be able to recognize them? That's a big question. And this is the work of Paul Ekman following Darwin's research. Okay?
Okay, done. So, as I said before, Darwin started the whole thing, and it was very, very interesting. Now, there was acceptance and rejection. There are many reasons why Darwin's work was rejected back then. His book on the expressions. I'm going to mention the basic reason why it was rejected, and it was the democratic zeitgeist. Even our dear friend Watson in 1914, who's the founder of behaviorism, said that expressions and emotions are learned, whereas Darwin said that expressions and emotions have innate determinants that make the person express himself on the face in a particular manner. These two went against each other. So Watson said, I do not accept what Darwin said. Of course, Darwin didn't have saying that. And the whole reason was the democratic zeitgeist, as I said before, because the society could not accept one thing at the time, that all men can be made equal if their environment were made, equally benevolent. Meaning that they could not accept the fact that a person cannot develop further if the environment was there to help them develop. So this was against the notion of society at the time. Whereas Darwin says, when it's genetic, when it's there, when it's innate, it cannot actually change, it cannot actually develop in the sense that society wants, but it can develop in an evolutionary manner. So Darwin said, we combine learning. Learning means that whatever is learned from the human being or the animal can be integrated and then finally become part of the DNA, because this was his theory of evolution. Do you understand that? Does it make sense? Nick? Yeah? Right? All right. Just stop me if, there are question marks anyway. Okay, good. So, the universality of emotions, what I just analyzed. And the final thing is, what is the relevance to coaching? And is it relevant to executive coaching, to life coaching, to what sort of coaching is it? The answer is there. Our dear friend, and this is where something I heard comes in, about, that was you, Reinhard, that said it? Right, something about having something in your mind. You cannot be entirely blank when you have the client. You mentioned something similar to that in your workshop, that you cannot be entirely blank when you have the coachee in front of you, all right? And you mentioned you gave a very nice argument about that. So Darwin would support you by saying that no one could be a good observer unless he's an active theorizer. So to be able to become an active theorizer in relation to the microexpression, it means that you have to have a sound theory. Okay, a firm theory, meaning that you need to have knowledge of what is out there. You need to have knowledge of what is on people's faces to be able to make a theory and then observe what is already in your head as knowledge. Do you understand that? Make sense? Yes? Should I repeat it? No? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Repeat it. So you're saying from the theory, but surely as a child you're absorbing your
Exactly.
parents. That's not a theory.
Yes.
That's just an experience. You're not theorizing. You're just...
Yeah, exactly, but we're talking about the coaching domain, where a
Oh,
coach
okay.
is being trained to start getting rid of all these childhood, ideas that he has or she has. So a coach is being trained to develop new skills, different skills, and this is one that belongs to a different skill set.
Oh, okay.
So with the coach training that comes in and years of experience, a coach develops new skills. And with these skills, in addition to this, new theory, because for some it might be new theory, for some it might be old theory, it's easier for the coach to observe. Does it make sense now, John? You could disagree.
Keep going and I'll see.
Okay, good.
Something's not right yet. But...
Okay. So, Darwin was the one that researched, and here we have even more relevance to coaching. He said that he did a lot of research to ascertain, independently of common opinion, how far particular movements of the features on the face and the gestures as regards body movements are really expressive of certain states of mind. So once again, here we go. If you know some theory on what is going on, meaning if you learn about what microexpressions are, what facial behaviors are, then it's easier for you to see it in your clients. Okay? And then we have Darwin that gave a lot of emphasis on the facial muscles. And he was the first one to say something about it. And this was continued with the French anatomist, Duchenne, was it? Huh?
What struck me in the difference between fear and surprise
Yes?
is that they seem to stem from different muscles.
Exactly.
The fear came from up there and the surprise came from up here.
Exactly. That's the point. So Darwin was the first one to realize that there's something going on. And he said, let's see, what is at work here with this emotion, and what is at work here with this emotion? So he started studying the muscles on the face. Pure anatomy. And another friend of ours, the French anatomist Duchenne in 1862, he's famous for experimenting on this particular person you can see there, sort of smiling. The French anatomist, he discovered that this person does not have any feeling on his skin. So he used electrical, shocks on the face to see how the muscles would move when he asked the person to make an expression. Okay, so this particular person did not have the ability to feel anything on the skin. As you can see, it was not sensitive at all. So he asked the person to make an expression when he gave him small electrical shocks. You can Google the whole thing. It's a very, very nice experiment. Okay? And if you Google images on Duchenne, you will find this person's like hundreds of images with him making all sorts of expressions with these electrical things in his face. It was a very interesting experiment to show how the muscles work when there is some external stimulus there at the same time. So his point was to prove that the muscles work in different ways when you request the posed emotion, the posed expression for an emotion. Okay? The simulation. Because with this person, he asked for a simulation, not a spontaneous expression of an emotion. Right? The words I'm saying is like, it was like a simulation, not a spontaneous, because it makes sense in the research that they made. Alright? And that was Dr. Paul Ekman, who developed a systematic procedure. And because he's a scientist, he pays extreme attention to the word systematic, okay, and measurable. And we'll see further along how. This is how, with the facts. Okay, it's the facial action coding system. And I said specifically not a simulation, but spontaneous. Because there were many, many scientists back then that rejected Ekman's work because of the huge question, is a simulation an actual expression of emotion? And what is the difference? And how can we prove the universality? I will not bore you with the details because we don't have enough time to do so, even though I was 15 minutes late. Okay, so that would have never covered the theory. 15 minutes will not be enough. And of course, thank you. Okay, so as you see, Ekman, along with some other researchers, wrote a book, and it's called The Basic and Applied Studies of Spontaneous Expression Using the Facial Action Coding System. And to make it measurable, he came up with about 48 action units. These action units are the pull of each muscle on the face, and he has given a description that when these muscles are pulled, this is the expression that we can see on a person's face. So these are called action units, or AUs. Do you understand that? Make sense? Yeah? So, these are the facts. Now, Ekman made it very, very specific. As I said, he's a scientist, so his research was very, very important to come across as very serious. All right? Even though people had rejected Darwin. So you see, it says, since every facial movement is the result of muscular action, a comprehensive system could be obtained. And this comprehensive system is the facial action coding system with the action units. So he made a full analysis a full analysis of how the muscles work. Okay? So being able to analyze facial movement into anatomically, all right, based minimal action units. Okay, so knowing the theory, and this is the new theory that you are acquiring today, you have the ability to theorize, to actively theorize, and then be able to observe. Does it make sense now? Sort of.
So I have some questions, but they'll come later.
Lovely. I love questions, and you know that. So, you see part of the analysis how it goes. Can everyone see that? All right? Now, you know who uses these like motor maps of the face a lot? Which industry uses this? Ladies?
Plastic surgery.
Plastic surgery, thank you, Maria. You know why? Because I heard a very nice question. When I was telling somebody, I'm going to talk about microexpressions, it was a teenager. It was a male teenager. And his question was, oh, and what about women that have had Botox? That was a question. And I says, oh my dear, I hope you never go out with one of those women. No, I'm sorry if anyone has had Botox, okay? I even tried it once. And it's okay, it didn't hurt. But the thing is, you actually don't have expressions on the face if you're Botox. So the whole system doesn't work on Botox people. All right, so that's clear. Okay, that's very, very clear. No, it doesn't work because no muscles contract. It's as simple as that, okay? It's like stepping in a poisonous snake. You know it's poisonous and you know it's going to bite you. End of story. That's it. And I say that because Botox comes from the poison of a snake, doesn't it? Who knows about that? Didn't you know that? You know that. There you go. You've got two of you.
You need to change your picture of Simon Cowell because I think he's fairly Botox.
Oh my God! That was like a social comment, and I enjoy it. Yes, I think it should change it. But it's like the only expression that Simon makes is that of contempt, arrogance, disdain. That's why I chose him. It's the only expression that he can actually make.
It's just such contempt that comes through both.
It comes through the boats, exactly. This is the only thing that is in his head. Okay? So, you can understand with all those little arrows how the muscles go up and down and around and everywhere. So let's move on. Over here, this is very, very detailed, but this is an example. You can see I'm going to have a PowerPoint over slides from the EMCC website. Okay, but over here you can see, and with special care, you can read underneath which muscles are pulled for the particular expressions. So without you becoming anatomists or anything like that, it will be easy for you to start recognizing that more muscles than what you thought are being pulled with every thought that provokes an emotion or whatever, vice versa, whatever emotion might provoke a thought, since we're not sure yet which comes first. Okay? Make sense? Moving on a bit. Right, I think I have a small video here.
There are 6.5 billion people in the world, but we all look the same when we lie. Dilated pupils, oblique eyebrows, an upturned lip, the smallest line on your face, the slightest body movement. It all tells a story. It may be human nature to lie, but the truth is written all over your face.
Lie to Me premieres this January on Fox.
So you saw there the final message. Did you see it? It said, words lie, the face doesn't. Did you see that? Okay, so no matter what people say, their face will always tell the truth. And this is the magical point. Howard, how much time do we have? Oh, we have a fairly nice 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. Brilliant. Okay. So there we go. The Microexpressions by Paul Ekman, as you saw in the series, they got so interested in what was going on with his research that they decided to make a series, and Paul Ekman is the scientific advisor in the series. And after this whole thing came up with Ekman, I don't know what marketing he did, perhaps yesterday David from yesterday could have told us, But very, very quickly, FBI agents, CIA, medical researchers, HR managers started working in the United States with microexpressions. You see here, like Fortune 500 companies, medical professionals started working with that. And I'll tell you why they started working with that. It's a very interesting story. Now, in the series, it shows the real story with a twist. The story goes like this. Paul Ekman decided to make the series and work a little bit more with the whole thing because he had a friend who worked in a psychiatric clinic. He was a psychiatrist, and there was this lady, Mary, of course that's not her real name, who had serious issues with her depression and was sort of suicidal. So Mary, even though she had these outbursts at some points, she soon started saying that I feel much, much better. And I understand things clearer. I can see the world in a different sense right now. And they actually had some meetings, this psychiatrist friend and Paul Ekman, and they decided to have a look at her and interview her actually, and to see if they were going to release her from the hospital, from the clinic. And so they did. But the unfortunate situation as a result was that she actually committed suicide a couple of weeks later. And they took it at heart and they wanted to see what went wrong in their assessment, what happened, because they could see the expression on her face. It was pure happiness. It was there. She smiled. She gave all the indications of being fine with herself. But still, she committed suicide. It means that something slipped through their attention. And what was that? So Paul Ekman took the video because the interviews are being videoed in many cases. So he took the video and he kept on looking again and again and again. And that's where he found that this woman had made certain expressions that lasted 1/25th of a second. And it was only then that he could see and he could show his friend, the psychiatrist, that if we had seen that expression on her face, we would have known that she was not telling us the truth. And this is where the title, Lie to Me, comes in. Imagine the power a coach could have if you were able to be trained and see those micro-expressions in your clients. Because it is my belief, and I don't know if it's your belief as well, that most clients lie to themselves. Therefore, they try to hide some things, but they cannot actually hide them because their thoughts, their real thoughts, their reality is there. They try to lie to themselves to make their reality believable and remain in their comfort zone. Does that make sense? Okay? So this is how Paul Ekman decided to work on the micro-expressions even more. So, now, he has two tools. He developed these two tools, all right, which is a micro-expression training tool. And it's about more than an hour, but it trains you, and you can be trained again and again in spotting concealed emotions, not visible for most people without that particular training. And he also has the subtle emotion tool, which is something similar. And these tools are used, all right, for law enforcement, as you can see, national security, therapists, health professionals, salespersons, of course, all right, in a sense, replacing neuro-linguistic programming for some of those salespersons, and HR people and negotiators, so that they can see on the faces of other people what is going on in their head. Okay, it's what we said that Paul Ekman was the first one to link the description of the expressions on the face to emotions. Okay? Good. So, my question is, we have all these people, law enforcement, national security, HR people, negotiators, and where do coaches come in? Maybe there is room for research for coaching and see how these micro-expressions can actually help coaches. So it's time to reveal that I'm not here from a position of authority, and you can understand that. I'm here from a position of questioning that maybe we should add coaches to that group of people who can be trained on micro-expressions so we can use it as a tool with our clients for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. Yes?
Yeah, but I think there are interesting questions. So what does it help me to, and the other. So what does it help me to have a more clear understanding about this person? I mean, finally they lie to themselves. And I mean, I think it's a tricky job to confront people in that straight way. I mean, I would never say, I mean, your facial expression shows something different than you're telling me.
As always, you're moving like he is ahead of us. I didn't say anything about the way.
10 minutes left, so
I didn't.
say that I did job.
I didn't.
We are here
You
as
see,
coaches and
that's
not
very
as
good. You're posing the question that comes after my word, how about doing some research on how coaches can utilize this information? So I did not say what sort of questions we could ask or what sort of behavior the coach can have. This is part of the research that I suggested. We need a mic there. Did I answer in a sense? Because I didn't say how we can do it. I just mentioned, there you go. I just mentioned the fact that we do need, like for me, I think that we need to get into some actual recognition phases, study, research to see how we can utilize this knowledge that we have. Because it's okay. I know many coaches, especially at the beginner stage, they do not recognize it the moment when their client is actually lying, either to themselves or to them. So the thing is, do you actually confront them? Do you challenge them? Do you let them know that you have already had micro-expression training so they know that you will be challenging them in the future? I'm just throwing suggestions here. Did that answer your question? And there was a comment.
How does that relate with the Baron Cohen studies, the read the mind in the eyes? You know the test, read the mind in the eyes?
I haven't heard of that. I didn't quite understand how what you said.
Well, there is a
how
guy.
does this relate to?
To the work of Baron Cohen.
I don't know that one.
You know that?
No, I'm not familiar with that, no.
Well, it says that there is a correlation between empathy and the result of that test, which is just to present the eyes.
Right. Since I'm not familiar with it, I cannot answer that question.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that, but I'm really not familiar with that work. And there was a question there. Yes?
Is there actually any research done on when you lie to yourself? Because
when you lie to yourself, does your face give that away? Or, because you believe what you're saying is the truth. So really the expression on your face would be truthful. Exactly. So that does not count. In knowing that. Yeah, well, the terms that we are, when we do the training, one of the first things they tell us is what is the truth and what is a lie. So when the person genuinely believes the lie he's telling to himself, even though we might recognize it with some skill set that it is a lie, when that person actually believes it, it's the truth, so it's not a lie for that person, and the emotions, the expressions are genuine. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're not talking about the genuine truth, we're talking about lies. And it's very good because we are given during our training the definition of what is the truth for some people and what is a lie. Okay, so when they believe it's the truth, this does not apply. Okay? Yes? Very good. So they make it a point in the training.
Is that the same as when you use one emotion to cover another? So some people will cry when they're angry.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
You see, I skipped one slide over here. It will go back. I skipped this one, John. You see the display rules? All right, these are the norms regarding the expected management of facial expressions. So what you just said is part of the display rules. For many reasons, culturally usually, the people conceal their actual emotions by demonstrating another emotion. Okay? So we have the display rules that are at play here, and through further training, the person, the coach, or the person using the microexpressions as a tool needs to know what illustrators are from the face, regulators and emblems, which I will not get into, and he needs to understand the difference between the difference of the genuine emotion, a genuine expression of an emotion, and simulated expression, which is a voluntary attempt to conceal. Okay? So this lies in the cultural differences, and it's part of the research. And if you read the whole thing, you will find answers there, but still it's not 100% concrete. Okay, but yes, the display rules and the simulated expressions are being researched, as you asked.
Because I know that in my practice as a therapist, I was able, someone is crying, but I don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I watch, I don't get a sense of the sadness.
Exactly.
Which usually indicates me there's something else.
Exactly, and this is where I'm getting to right now, okay? So, this is what I asked you before. I will reply to that question in the following slide. You see, the microexpressions can be divided, as I said, they last very, very little. 1/5 to 1/12 to 1/25 of a second. So we have the slight expression because the emotion may not be so intense. And then we have the partial expression, which only part of the face is affected and shows an emotion. And then we have the full expression. Okay? All this part of the micro-expression system. So if we have a combination of a slight expression, if we have the combination of a slight, of a micro, okay, and a partial expression, that's very, very difficult to see in the other person's face. Right? If we have a combination of the three. Can you imagine that? 1/5 or 1/25. The woman that committed suicide, it was 1/25 of a second. Those expressions that they found through going over and over again on the video. Okay? So, and this is, the macro expressions are the normal facial expressions, the normal ones. The ones that everybody can see, the ones that last as long as they should last. By the way, John, I don't know if this will help you understand, if this answers your question in a sense, but how can we tell that an expression is not real? The response came from research that it usually, the person tends to make it last longer than it actually should be. I think that answers the question. This is how a person who's experienced can see it. They know that the duration of the actual expression is less than if it is simulated. So, 5 more minutes, right? Okay? So when it's simulated, it lasts longer. It's the tendency of the person, of the human being, to make the other person believe that this is my genuine emotion. Okay? So, now, again in relation to coaching. Congruence is the context, is the aspect of the context that is very, very important to me. So when I saw, and this is how I saw that the person was lying to themselves, but actually lying to themselves, they knew they were lying to themselves, there was no congruence. The micro-expression did not fit with the person's actual words, the posture, the gestures. And that's why I said, what's going on here? There's something going on here, and I can see that this person is not actually telling me the truth. And that's where the question started. How do I confront this person? What question do I use? Do I challenge this person? Do I tell this person straight out that you're lying to yourself or you're lying to me? This is how it all started. Okay? Now, this is the actor from the Lie to Me series. And here we explain how sadness goes. And this is where the images that you have in front of you can be explained through the facial muscles. Because you see that the drooping of eyelids, for example, do show sadness. Contempt is only part of the lips, of the mouth, that moves upwards the corner. Alright? When you have fear, the eyebrows are raised, okay, along with the upper eyelids. But when we have surprise, for example, the eyebrows are raised, but not that much. The eyes are widened, and you can see less white in the surprise expression, and more of the white of the eyes in the fear. But when you have these very, very quick flashes, you're not quick in, seeing them there. So, what comes next? This is a full analysis. So when you have like a PowerPoint from the EMCC, you will have the full analysis of what these are. The muscles that are being pulled in relation to what we've said up until now. Contempt, fear, sadness, surprise, joy. And I think there's anger at the end. Okay? All these are simulated. These are pose expressions, and they have used them to help understand very, very clearly. They're not actual expressions. They have asked the people to make this expression. There is a response to that because a very nice scientist, Margaret Mead, she contradicted Paul Ekman, and she says, like, simulated pose, is it the same as the genuine emotions? And the response was, for the person to be asked to have an expression, to make an expression, it means that he knows what this is. So there is sort of a universality there. There is sort of a common ground. So when you tell a person get angry, it means that there comes the knowledge what angry looks like from childhood, and the person, even in a posed way or even in a simulated way, or the actual feeling of anger comes out in the face. They know how to show it. Okay? And that's how they know how to conceal it. They know how to try to cover it up. It's a knowledge from the childhood. So, even more research on the mouth. You see the differences. Okay, there was a nice video there on YouTube, but we don't have internet connection, but never mind. Some famous expressions that Paul Ekman worked on, and he gave his work to the government. What sort of expression does Bill have there? Is that guilt?
Yeah.
Doubt? From what you saw before, what do you think this could be? Is it part of the 7 emotions? Is it? No, it's not content. It is? It sort of defines, yes?
I think that she's trying to persuade someone.
He. Bill. We're talking about Bill. Yeah.
I think that he's very skeptical. Doubt.
John?
So it's quite sad somewhere.
Yeah. I think around his eyes is sad.
Mm-hmm. Around the eyes there is...
I see sadness, I should rather say.
Around the eyes there is genuine sadness, indeed. Okay? That puckering of the lips?
Anger.
No, it's not anger.
Regret.
It's embarrassment. That's the feeling. It's the feeling of embarrassment.
That's not one of your 7.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I said, do you recognize if it is one of the 7? I didn't say it is one of the 7.
Well, then it's maybe the embarrassment. He's hiding the sadness.
That's why I
If
agreed
he's
with
feeling upset and he's not wanting to show it, he's going to actually be doing something.
That's
with
why I
his life.
agreed with Reinhardt. That's why I agreed. Yes, there is genuine sadness and there is embarrassment, and he's concealing the sadness with that expression. Exactly. Okay? This lady, is she telling the truth or not?
We don't know
What the context is. All right, she's I think she works for the government, and she was a well-known lady, and she had to go to court because it was a government issue. She was a senator or something, and she was trying to convince people about something. So is her persuasive technique genuine? What can you see there? That she regrets something. This is what she says, I'm sorry about this. This is the context.
No, I don't think she regrets. I find the raised eyebrows.
Yeah.
I don't see this genuine regret because her eyebrows are raised, and I find that gives a little bit the feeling of insincerity.
Yes, that's true. Okay, when people first heard her speech, they thought she was telling the truth. And then Paul Ekman said, no, she's not. And he gave reasons, looking at the eyebrows, looking at the hands, even though they're supposed to show genuine, apology, they're like, too much open. So the combination of the hands with the expressions, the wrinkles coming down the forehead, not being in a different way, no sadness in the eyes, shows that she's not feeling sorry for real. Okay, so there's more work for you to be done. You recognize these, don't you? So in a word, it's sort of fake sadness. Okay? Fake sadness because the eyes don't go down in the manner that they should be going down. Okay, and there is anger. And if you have a look at their nose, can you see around here the muscles being pulled upwards? It is slight disgust or contempt. Can you see it around here? Around the nose, slight disgust or contempt. Right? And it's not just the tight lips that shows that. Okay? And I think this is the final one. We have again our dear friend. You see, I told you, it's a classic image assignment. Okay? Even if he's Botox, that's the only thing he can show. Okay? But it's there. Again, do you see the other person's eyes? The person on your right. Is he being sincere? Is he being honest? No, for some reason you understand that he's not being honest. And this is where the relevance to coaching comes in. How can you tell yourself that I am correct right now? I know that this person is not being honest. You need to have the foundation, you need to have the theory to be able to analyze it and then work with your client at a deeper level. Yeah?
But isn't there an essential difference in all these public situations, and even the situation of FBI and therapists and negotiators?
And the difference is?
When the context requires them not to be completely open, as in contrast to the coaching situation, where of course not everybody is as open as you would like them to be. But they are there not because we want them to be there, but they want there to be there with us as a coach to help them and to be open. So the essence of the situation is totally different in my view.
Yes, and I've written a paper on that where I've analyzed the Greek society. That it's called the DAMP Session 3, where I question the fact that the person that comes in for coaching, especially within the Greek environment, actually wants to be coached or wants somebody to find a solution for him or her.
It's not the same.
I know it's not the same. It's not the same as in?
Wants to be coached.
What? I don't know if he wants to be coached. Maybe he thinks he wants to be coached. They're talking about these kind of people. Or people that have great difficulty of actually letting go. People who have lived a lifetime of lying to themselves, lying to other people. They're subtle lies. This is what I mean. Okay? I mean, it's a lifetime. It has been, it's integrated in them, and they're used to behaving in that manner. Okay? Even though their head says, I want to be coached. Okay? Yes, this is the end. And this was the final image I wanted to give you. All right, which is, it's genuine laughter, genuine joy and happiness. Okay, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for the great discussion. A very enlightening topic. I think the opportunity here is to explore within ourselves how might we incorporate these concepts. Is there a place for it in our own practices? Thank you very much, Penny.
Thank you.